Can you please help me? I'm gonna make the cake all by myself. I'll make the cake and bake your cake and take it too. How come you want to come hang out with me, Bo?
I am. I'm gonna come when you start.
Greetings, Rounduppers, my Roundup family. Greetings. It's 7-Up pound cake, good Lord. 7-Up pound cake making time, Rounduppers. So today, nobody want to help. All y'all want to do is eat the cake. Y'all don't want to help make it. Nobody want to help make it. Just want to eat. Go get your stand, Bubba. Showtime, Bubba. Look in the garage. Eat it too. Oh, you can't find it. No,
I can just use a chair.
Here, want that chair there? Go get your apron, Bubba. Is that yours?
Yeah.
And lights, camera, action. Here. Look out. Look out, Molly. I gotta take the chair with her. I can't do it with you, Molly. Tiger style. Greetings, my Roundup family. Merry Christmas. Welcome to.
It's not Christmas. It's Christmas tomorrow. It's actually Merry Christmas Eve.
You're right. Merry Christmas Eve, Roundup. Today, it is Chris Haskins hanging out with Morgan Haskins. And I'm a one-trick pony when it comes to baking, but I've got it down. I got the look in the garage. Who is this? These cakes, I cannot sell these cakes for no less than like $50-$60. It costs so much of my time. I think I'd rather just make them for free as opposed to trying to make another money-making opportunity on these things. Rounduppers, Merry Christmas to you. I like to share a couple generation old recipe with you. The recipe is in the video description. Today, I'm just going to be talking real estate. I'm going to tell you about a house. It's Christmas Eve, right? And I've been up since 6:30 this morning, 6 o'clock, working. I went to look at a house. I'm going to tell you all about it in a minute. Let's get rolling. Hit it. Ingredients: 3 sticks butter. Do not use no margarine. Don't be using no margarine around here. 3 cups of sugar. 3 cups flour. 5 eggs. Bring the eggs over. Something like that. 5 eggs. 1 cup 7-Up, and 2 teaspoons of lemon extract. Boom. That's it. The baby said Christmas. Merry Christmas Eve. You're right. Merry Christmas Eve. Oh, that's right. Here is our bundt pan. You got to make sure you have it lightly floured. You got to dust it with the flour, which a lot of prep stuff we already did. Ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. 1 cup sugar. Hit it.
All of it?
Go with it. Slowly. Now, we've already whipped this butter here. You can whip it. It has to be whipped very fluffy so your cake will come out nice and airy and fluffy, real milky. Don't let it get on the edge there. Good job. Hopefully, I'm going to have some guests coming on Roundup that you can learn from them too. I talked to them this morning to see if they're available. I got a few people on call to see if they're available to come on with us to talk real estate. But let me tell you about the deal that I was looking at this morning. So, guy calls me, got a rental property, and for 2020, I'm trying to add. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, margarine. I'm trying to add some income streams, and we're going to be adding some more Airbnbs. So I'm looking around town. I went to look at one this morning. We walk in the door, Roundup. Hold on a minute. I gotta pour my sugar out. 3 cups sugar. All right, put that in, bro. We walk in the door to the house. So I met the owner there this morning. He came from out of town. He's got some tenants in the house, right? Walk in the front door. Tenant comes down in his underwear. Pour it on
His
there.
underwear?
Yeah, dude, he's in his underwear, bro. Crazy, right? Here, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I got my new bowl too. Can you see that? I got the handle here. So now all I gotta do, this is cool. Now I got a handle. I can hold my bowl. Boom, dump it. You can pour it in there. I got the new handle with the new bowl with the handle. I'm cooking now. Oh, shoot. Tenant comes down in his underwear. It's crazy. So it was just awkward. I guess the tenant didn't know we were coming over today. So this property here, the guy's he's renting it to students. And what we're thinking about doing is converting it to an Airbnb for him, work with him on it. I don't know if it's enough cash flow, but it needs a new bathroom and it needs some other work. So we're looking to do the work and convert it over to an Airbnb, see what type of income it can bring. We want to convert the property to its highest and best use. So, okay, getting back to our cake. 2 cups sugar. Gotta put the last cup in. A little too much. 3 cups sugar total. Hit it, Bo.
All of it?
Yep, that's what I'm doing. Hit it. The secret. Oh. There you go, bro. Tell everybody what you're doing now. What you doing?
Who?
You.
I'm pouring all the sugar out.
Pouring the sugar in there, right? We're pouring in sugar now. We got to get mixing time. I will tell you, Roundup. Oh, here you go. Hit it, bro. Mixing over here. Baking for me is very therapeutic. It's mad therapeutic to where. Huh? What? For me, baking is therapeutic. Like you get in the kitchen, nobody bothers you. You put your ingredients in there. You get to measure everything up. You showing a picture? Bubba is Santa Claus. Now this bowl here. Wait a minute. There we go. The bowl you can take off a little bit and move it around to get on the sides. Because a lot of times the batter won't get off the sides of the bowl, so you can move it a little bit. All right, Bubba, drop the first egg in there. Oh, gotta pour this batter in. Hit it. There you go. Now, next ingredient is going to be your eggs.
1 egg.
Oven's good to go. Good to go. And if you got any real estate questions, we'll go over that too. And my boy Bill Brunson's got a 50% sale going off at my site now. All right, Bubba, next egg. Put it in. This is where you put your 5 eggs in after you put the sugar in. They should use a fresh 7-Up, Roundup. Fresh 7-Up. Don't be coming around here with no 7-Up from last year or even last week. I need to have the 7-Up fresh. But yeah, I want to bring my boy on too. Let's see where he's at. Chris, where you at? This dude has got some stories for you. Woo. See if he's around. Chris, you up? You around?
Hello.
I got some real estate entrepreneurs going to bring on for you.
Put the egg in now.
Yeah, put the next egg in. Next egg goes in, Bubba. Make sure you drink. Stir. Put some of the white part in too.
I did.
You can cut it back on.
And what number?
2.
That's good, right?
2 are going up 4 on me. Right there. All right, hit your next egg, brother. You put your 5 eggs in. After the sugar, the next ingredient is flour. Hit it, brother.
Yeah.
Put some of the white in there too.
Yeah.
Pour the white part in. There you go. We're rocking and rolling. We're rocking and rolling.
Rocking and rolling.
Let's over some out to see. Sorry about that. Did I mix it all up? You can see how an egg kind of makes it liquidy. But in a minute, it'll be real cake battery. Is that a word? Cake batter-ish, if you will. Got your Central Coast. Bert!
What's up, man?
How you doing, bro? Good last egg, bro.
You know what? I am relaxing today.
I was gonna say I don't know if you're gonna be able to join me or not. I know you're relaxing.
Yep. So I did a little bit of running around this morning, and taking an easy afternoon about it.
You got some stuff going on, man. So is the business open today or are you closed?
We are not open today, and we are not open tomorrow. But grind time, 10 a.m. Thursday morning. So,
What traditions do you have that are interesting, Chris, for the holiday before we get into a little bit of real estate talk?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, ever since I was a little kid, Christmas Eve was the majority of family time. I have family just north of D.C. in the suburbs of Baltimore. So my aunt on my father's side hosts a big Christmas Eve event. All my cousins, their kids, and aunts and uncles, and we all get together and just have a merry old time.
That sounds like fun.
Yep. We look forward to it every year.
All right, next ingredient roundup is going to be flour. 3 cups of flour.
3 cups. Hey! I was gonna do that.
Okay, here.
Chris, I'm assuming that is your
All of it?
cake.
7-Up pound cake, yes, sir. Keep going. That's good. My one-trick pony. I'm going to learn something new this holiday, though.
Okay.
Have you ever had one?
I don't know if I've ever had 7-Up pound cake. It sounds delicious.
You gotta pour your 7-Up in while you're mixing the flour. It'll poof all up. So you're moving into Baltimore.
We are. I know I had shared this with you, but my mother was born in New York, raised in New York on the other side, and my father was actually born and raised in the city of Baltimore until about 10 years old, and then moved on to the suburbs. So I guess I could say I have roots in the city of Baltimore. It's just all the family lives in the county now.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It was I guess it was in the 50s and 60s, and it's very common in the city of Baltimore, and they actually coined the phrase in the 50s and 60s as the white flight.
I remember that phrase.
Yep.
We talked about that in high school.
Okay. Yeah, but it's very true. I mean, at that time in the 60s, unfortunately, the drug era started to come in, and inner city areas were just impoverished, behind that. And the people that could afford to move out to the wealthier areas out in the county, they did.
Really?
Yep.
I remember reading about that in high school.
Okay.
But now it's like reverse. They're moving back to the city.
Well, it's the state of real estate is you buy when you can buy low. And Baltimore is one of those cities in the Northeast region. I mean, you can buy properties for a couple $1,000.
I remember we were talking about this morning.
Yep.
I've kind of lived my life. Even my mentor was like, man, you need to do the opposite of what everybody else is doing. Have you ever heard that before?
All the time. Yep. All the time. Yeah, it is a Warren Buffett quote that I heard many years ago.
That's right.
Is, when the country gets greedy, I get scared. But when the country gets scared, I get greedy.
When the country gets greedy. I feel like we might be in a little greed state right now, Chris. What do you think?
I do. I mean, our current administration coins the phrase that, job growth is on the rise, and, then they're down talking cities like Baltimore, calling them the slums. But then if you look at the family's interest, the real estate interest, they're buying Baltimore like crazy. So, it's a typical a forced devaluation is what I would call it.
A typical what, Chris?
Forced devaluation, where you continue to talk something into the ground and beat it to death, and it's only to bring the price down to buy it low enough that when it comes up just a little bit, you're ahead.
You know what? I never even thought about that, Chris. Baltimore never.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I saw it growing up in Washington, D.C. We had, very impoverished areas. A lot of it was due to the 1960s riots. But these old guys just sat on these dilapidated buildings for 20 years, never did anything to them, completely devalued the whole area. And then when the economy started to take a turn in mid to late 90s, these guys were unloading that stuff 100 miles an hour because it's now tripled in value of something they never put any money into.
Are you telling me that perhaps influential politicians could change by using words and press releases that they could possibly have an effect on the way people perceive these neighborhoods? Almost like the stock market?
I don't believe it to be true. I mean, I believe it to be true, but I think anybody who is allowing themselves to be influenced by someone else's words, you can take over anything.
I'm just thinking about somebody could say something and a stock go down or up. Yep. Why couldn't it be done the same with real? Wow, dude, you are opening my eyes. Why not real estate?
Yeah.
What are the words that you said he used? That was powerful.
Forced devaluation.
No, you said something about. He said something about the slums or something.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, in DC we have a lot of areas of the U Street corridor in Northwest. We have 8th Street corridor in Northeast. Were all burnt down in the 1960s riots after the death of Martin Luther King. And the owners of these properties, and I have friends that are a good bit older than me that witnessed property owners going down there and not only destroying their own property, lighting their own property on fire to devalue the neighborhood. And they blamed it on the community burning down the neighborhood.
You're blowing my mind right now. Let me put my last ingredient round up. This is 2 teaspoons of lemon extract.
I'll do it.
I'm listening, Chris. Go ahead.
Yeah, so what happened in the 60s is that you had areas that you nor I nor a lot of people might want to live. There was crime, there was drugs, there was violence, there was all these things that were kind of the ownership of these properties turned the other way. They allowed the value of this area to continue to decrease. Meanwhile, they're still buying more of these properties during this time and sit on those properties. It's even funny in most urban areas, you can see who the slumlords are because the tax sale document comes out towards the end of the year. and mysteriously, before taxes the liens are placed against them from the government, they pay them off. So.
Wow, Chris.
But yeah, no, devaluation of property. I mean, you said like we just invested in 2 pieces of real estate in Baltimore, in the city, both in a location that I guess the coin phrase would be 1 block off of Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
I think in any town, USA, 1 block off of Main Street, you just had the economic enhancement just hasn't gotten 1 block over, but we're speculating that it is.
Wow. Chris, you always on something, man. You are always you keep your ear to the street. You keep your ear to the street. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
My thing is, there's how many people? I mean, I don't want to just blame. I'm not a big blame guy, I like taking blame, but I'm like Baltimore. I remember driving to there, back when I used to go back and forth to New York.
Okay.
It was just like New Jack City ish. I mean, you're walking through, you got almost zombies on the street. I mean,
you do.
What future do you see? I mean, can it be turned around like I'd say a Detroit or an Atlanta? I mean, I feel like it's a big city like that.
Well, I mean, I mentioned to you when we chatted briefly this morning, Baltimore is the city that you either have it or you don't have it. Like, there's not a middle class there. I mean, you go a half mile to the west, and I feel like I was in an episode of HBO's The Wire. I mean,
that's why you said that.
Yeah, I mean, but yet you drive 2 blocks over and you cross over Charles Street and you're now at the Inner Harbor and you have shops and Starbucks and condominiums. The regional headquarters for Bank of America is right off of Charles Street.
Wow.
And, the people that work in that building don't go to the west side. They jump on the light rail and take it on back up to the suburbs.
They're gone.
They are gone. Yep. I mean, I have family, as I said, in Baltimore County. They go downtown, but they go down to baseball games. They might go down to the aquarium or dinner at the harbor. And as the sun goes down, they're going back to the suburbs.
Truly amazing.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the winter.
And people say like Baltimore, it's had a horrific year as far as homicides.
This year?
This year, it was 3. I saw it the other day, 330 homicides this year.
Wow.
Basically 1 a day.
Oh my God.
But if you pull up the map where it's occurring, it's in the same neighborhoods over and over and over. So,
what attracted you to going up there other than price?
I have 2 friends that are actively investing up there right now. One of which is renovating a house in a historically African-American neighborhood called Harlem Park, which is a very middle-class neighborhood. Like many places up there, you go 2 blocks over and it's a different world. Now, the other investor, he's over in an area called Federal Hill. Federal Hill, I guess in proximity to your area, reminds me of Granby Street in Norfolk.
Gotcha. The old Granby Street or the current Granby Street?
Well, it reminds me of the transition of the old Granby into the current Granby.
Transition.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, dude, it was just empty buildings. Oh, well, you know that.
Empty buildings, a couple bars from ODU. There was a couple bars, a gas station, and a bunch of rental houses for students. That was it.
Wow. You know what's weird? The more I travel the country, I can kind of see it now. Ready? You can see it moving. Like I'm no doubt you're seeing in Baltimore, but if you travel, and I would encourage anybody to travel, you can see what's going on in other cities, and inevitably it's going to come to your city. I saw the boom coming when I was in the music business in 2004. I saw Atlanta starting to blow like that. That's when I got in the real estate business. I knew it was coming to Hampton Roads. It was just a matter of time.
Yeah. And Atlanta's no different. I traveled back in around the same time back and forth to Atlanta and to Orlando a fair amount.
Yeah.
And if you come out of the airport and just go a little bit south to College Park, it's completely different than way up off of Peachtree and Buckhead.
Yeah.
So it's got a vast difference in Atlanta as well.
So what you got? Anything new you want to share for 2020? Okay, Roundup, we're getting ready to pour the batter out into the bowl and we're done. I got my new bowl with my handle now. I can pick it up with my handle.
Nice.
What you got for 2020, Chris? Any new strategies or what? I love it when I hear you talk real estate tools because it's like lease options subject to owner finances, like that world is just, it's so cool to hang out in, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I was telling you this morning, we just closed last Friday on the second property. So I had settlement set for 12 o'clock on Friday. So I drive up to the suburbs of Baltimore to this title company. And now keep in mind, I wrote the offer, purchase and sale agreement in the name of the land trust that we were going to use to hold title on the property. I was informed that everything cleared, and we set settlement for last Friday at 12. I drove up. I get to title attorney's office, and nobody's there. And the secretary had me sit in the conference room, and I'm like, wow, it's like 12:15. Nobody's here. And title attorney comes in, has a big stack of paperwork, and he says, I actually asked you to come an hour before everyone else because I wanted to talk to you about something.
I didn't know that. You didn't tell me that.
Yeah. I said, well, what's that? He says, everything's cleared, but I want to know what you know about holding title in the name of a land trust. And I asked, well, what do you mean? He said, well, I see that your purchase and sale agreement and everything was written under this land trust for the purchase of this property. Do you understand that the state of Maryland does not recognize land trusts? And luckily, I have a little information on that. And I said, yeah, I do understand that. But could you tell me, is there anything illegal about it? And he said, no, of course not. There's nothing illegal about it. It's just the state has not correctly defined whether they will or will not accept land trusts as a way to hold title. He said, we do it all the time, but we don't recommend it. And only because he then said, I asked you to come early because I can actually transfer your settlement paperwork over to an LLC if you want to, and we can close in the name of the LLC. And I kind of looked and said, well, you just told me that we just cleared title, so we're good to go in the name of the trust, and now you want me to change it at the settlement table? And I want
to know what are you thinking right now?
So I am a little intimidated because I am talking to a lawyer, right?
That's what they want.
Right. And I said, well, what is your hang up about using the land trust? And he said, well, we've had experiences in the past that when you're willing or ready to sell the property, the closing attorney at that time might have a problem closing it as you, the seller, as a land trust, because they cannot ever see what you were able to do or not do within that land trust.
That is true.
And when he said that, I smiled because I said, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. That's the whole point, is to keep it in a private document in which I can hold title, and I don't have it in my name. It's not in my name. It's listed, and my trustee was there and signed it.
Was your trustee there with you?
Yeah, of course. Yep.
So they don't like it because they don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, well, because it's as you said, it's a document that sits in the drawer somewhere at your office. I mean, they'll never see it. So I did have to inquire with him. I said, well, you said that you had issues in the past with sellers trying to sell in the name of a trust. What was your easiest resolve? And he says, well, he said, I've been doing this for many, many years. He said, we actually just transferred the deed the morning of into a corporation or a LLC. We cleared that. And so basically he was just saying that they double closed on the sale side. Transferred the deed. They couldn't do it the same day because they had to record it and then set settlement for the following day, I think.
I can live with that.
Yeah.
I can live with that. So basically taking it out of the trust. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know why they would. He said this is sometimes, right? Not all the time.
No, he said we have had occurrences in the past where we've had issue closing on the seller side because the buyer's title company doesn't understand what it is. So he's, in a sense, he was saying, don't limit yourself. He said the easiest resolve for him was to transfer deed to an entity the day before, record that, and then by the following day, because their title attorney is going to want to see that recorded transfer before they even touch it, and then they'll close.
So this is almost like not even their problem, but a buyer's problem, basically.
Yeah, it's a buyer problem / traditional title attorney that never has done this or maybe uses the word but doesn't understand actually what it is.
I've run into that several times down here, man. I mean, probably 10 times I can remember where they just don't understand, Chris. But it ain't. Why is it my fault that you don't understand this stuff? Well, you know, why are we on the hook for this, Chris?
I agree. I mean, I've taken my time and my little investment to buy the education to learn how to operate my business smarter.
Yeah.
And nobody's sitting there holding a gun at the back of my head saying, you got to learn this. You got to learn this. I'm trying to learn. I'm willing to invest the time and whatever. But I think they just do it so often that, you know, everything becomes so traditional with their transactions. You know, not different than a real estate agent.
Yeah.
We want to do it this way and we only do it that way. And
yeah.
But more and more, I've heard you say it, but I respect real estate agents. But man, they can get in the way.
Yeah, you were telling me that earlier.
Man.
So 2020, where do you see yourself regarding? Are you going to do more real estate or more entrepreneur stuff, or what are you kind of thinking?
I think a combination of both. I've learned to love real estate for multiple reasons because holding title to something, even if you have a loan on it, you know, the deed is still issued, you know, to you. But there's so many things you can do within real estate. You know, I mean, just so many options. I mean, the first property we just purchased, it's a shell. But you mentioned to me, and I've explored it with a couple investors, I own it in a land trust. I could change the beneficial interest, the new beneficiary, to whomever, make $10,000 and be done.
Yeah.
Or I could hold it. I could fix it up. I could lease option it to someone who wants to come fix it up. I could fix it myself and cash out refi, get most of my money back, and then have a long-term, you know, small loan on it. I mean, there's a million things you can do, which I love that you can be versatile, you know.
Well, I think that's based on your education, though, Chris.
I would agree.
Because, you know, a lot of guys, I know dudes been doing this forever. All they know is fix and flip.
Oh, I have a couple buddies. That's all they know is fix and flip. They buy it in the name of 123 Main Street LLC. They hold title to it. They put 150 grand into it. They sell it, and capital gains beats them up every time.
You know what a guy told me one time? He said, Chris, every 4 flips you're going to do, you're doing it for free.
Wow. Yeah.
I never thought about that, man. He's like, I promise you. The way he was broken it down to me, he was like, man, if you don't pay taxes on 3 and you just do one, just give all the profit to the IRS.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know what? That's when my mind opened up. Like, I need to look at this differently.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe we'll talk sometime, like after the first of the year. I know I mentioned it to you. Part of with your ministry of self-directed, my new CPA and a new attorney that I've been working with, getting some advice from, really powerful stuff. We actually just set up a self-directed 401k plan for myself in which I can contribute, you know, on my earned income side, running a business. but my company, the entity that I own, can actually match that contribution as well. Yeah. I have earned income working for the company.
Yeah.
I draw a salary, so that's taxable income.
Yeah.
But I can avoid a liability on my federal taxes by contributing, paying into my 401k plan. But the genius of the 401k plan is that my company can also match that contribution up to 25%.
Wow. Isn't the contribution like 16,000 or something on a 401?
401 has just changed this year. It's a 19,000 personal,
19.
and then the company can match it 25%. So I can contribute almost $25,000 a year into a 401k plan that I can then take self-directed into Chris Haskins' real estate project or whatever it may be. Chris pays me a return that goes now tax deferred back into my 401k plan.
Nice, yeah. I need to consider. I'm going to have to start doing some more contributions too. I hadn't done contributions in so long, but when you got earned income, Chris,
yeah,
you got to put this somewhere, man. You have,
Yeah. I mean, what do your investments? You pay like 8 to 9%.
I think it's 11.
Okay.
But I've got my real estate. I got my internet business.
Mm-hmm.
Which has no overhead. My wife's looking at it like, damn, you need some overhead. But it's designed to have no overhead.
Yeah.
Or low. But then the real estate side, the taxes are lower on that. But
sure.
you can't hide internet money, though. I mean, it just...
Well, it's not money anymore. It's a digit.
It's just air.
Yeah.
You can't hide it, man. I think Obama tried to get some of it, too, with some taxes years ago. I can't remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's good, brother. It was always good talking to you, brother Chris.
Yeah, man. Likewise.
Yeah. And I'll see you. I'll be up there. I don't know, probably the weekend or something. So if we can early, maybe shoot up to Baltimore and look at that house, do a video on that house.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Got time?
Yeah, definitely. Slow time of year. It's time to educate and learn how to invest.
That's right, bro.
Oh, I did pick up. I think I left it in the car. The Russell Brunson book that you had mentioned to me. So that's part of my holiday reading.
Chris, man. Which one you got, .com or Expert Secrets?
The Expert Secrets.
He's got 2.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, you're gonna be I can imagine your future's so bright, dude, with this internet, Chris.
Yeah.
We connect on that, dude. Gonna be crazy. All right, man. Merry Christmas, my friend.
Same to you. Roundup family, happy holidays.
All right. Peace. All right, Roundup. I'll bring you back. I forgot Ninja Cooking with Love. Thank you so much for your love contribution. Thank you for your love offering. I love you, Roundupers. Merry Christmas. I don't think any questions came in. No. I'll be back later when we bring the cake out. Hopefully your boy didn't burn it up. Roundupers. All right. Love you. Talk to you soon. Peace. 7-Up pound cake over and out.